We were taking pictures of the tiger. However, there were people taking pictures of us taking pictures of the tiger.
Yeah. So we are.
Hello guys, welcome again to another video. This is Miles from Sahara, and so I decided to check out what it is like to be a foreigner in China. And so to do that, I really need to catch up with foreigners, and it's hot today as usual. It's still summer here, it's really hot, so the best place to find foreigners right now is a pool party. So we are gonna go to a pool party.
Summertime!
Where are you from and why did you come to China?
I'm from Uganda, and I'm 100% Ugandan. Well, they call it, in Africa we call it brain drain, but I call it brain utilization.
Okay.
If I was back home, perhaps I wouldn't do what I'm able to do over here. So I wanted to explore China. I wanted to learn new culture, learn the people, and go beyond the box.
Who do we start with first?
Go left to right.
Okay. Ladies first, apparently.
Look at the camera.
I'm from South Africa.
What's your name?
I'm Danielle, and I'm from South Africa. I'm in China because China is a beautiful place with a lot of culture and a lot of history, and I'm really interested in that, and I do love their food. Chinese food is amazing. It is nothing like what we have at home.
Okay, what about you?
Hi, I'm Malcolm. I'm from the United States. I came to China because China was willing to pay me more than what Americans were willing to pay me in the United States. And so I was able to get a good job, and it's I wouldn't say it's very hard.
Yes.
So a very easy job with lots of money. How can you say no?
I'm from South Africa.
Okay, and how long have you been in China?
So this month it will be 1 year.
What was your perception of China before you came?
That's a pretty good question. Well, before I came to China, I had all these imaginations. I could stereotype people. I thought that every Chinese person could do kung fu. We had that kind of thinking, but then when you get to China, it's completely different.
Before I came to China, honestly, so many people had told me, the typical, oh, it's ching ching chong or chong 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 chong. That's how you speak. But honestly, after learning the language, it's not chong 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 chong. You don't make sense like that. People are just going to look at you like, what are you saying? Are you drunk?
Do you have anything to say on that?
I would say because I'm American, a lot of the news around China is usually bad.
Yes.
So we are kind of grown up to think that China is a very dangerous place to live.
Yes.
You don't have any rights. You can't really do anything. But when I came here, I saw that, as a Latino American who, maybe in the United States doesn't have as many rights as everybody else.
Yeah.
It's, I have a lot of freedom here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And which is very strange coming from an American, I know.
Yes.
But we have people don't bother you about every little what you look like. Maybe they might take pictures, maybe they might ask you where you're from.
Yes.
But it's never I never have to fear for my life.
I don't know, I didn't have a really good perception of China. I'd say I don't know, I just thought China was really old school, really backwards. They weren't as developed as they are. But when I came here, I was like, wow, the train system works. They pay everything on WeChat. Nobody uses cash. So I think it's more developed than I definitely thought. Yeah.
What surprised you that people outside might need to know?
Culture shock when you get into China. You don't know the language. You don't know the city. You don't know the street. The streets look alike.
Yes.
The food, the chopsticks. You walk into a restaurant, you want to order food, you can't read the menu. When they bring the chopsticks, you don't know how to hold them. So I do remember that my first time when I got into China, I ordered noodles, and I could barely hold the chopsticks together.
Yeah.
I had to leave the chopsticks and use my hands. But right now, when I hold the chopstick, the Chinese are like, hold on, how long have you been in this country?
Yes.
So when I got here, the first thing I went to the university, studied Chinese language. Now I don't only speak Mandarin, but I also speak the local dialect. You know, I try to take Chinese hygiene,
Oh.
a sort of exercise, and you got to know the formulas, you know. You're gonna do this, you're gonna do this. You have to follow the steps basically. But with my age, I have to let certain things go.
Yes.
But that's why I'm pushing my son to do Chinese Kung Fu, and is super good at this level right now.
Ooh. What do you think Chinese people think about your country? You say you're from the States. What do they think about this?
Well, I think currently, I don't think that Chinese people think very highly of my country.
Why is that?
Because we have a lot of, you know, political problems between our two countries.
Yes.
But from the people that I have met, like personally, I think they all really love Americans. They are very interested in what I have to say about China
Yes.
and what, you know, I do.
Yes.
So I think, you know, I almost feel like a little famous here, even though I am nobody here. You know, in my neighborhood, you know, there are no foreigners.
Yes.
So I say hello to everybody. Oh, ni hao lao wai, which hello foreigner.
Yes.
And like, you know, it's nice a little bit, even though sometimes it's annoying, but it's okay most of the time.
Okay. What do people think about South Africa here?
Honestly, a lot of people, when I say I'm from South Africa, a lot of people are like, well, why aren't you black? That's the first question is, but you're Indian, so like, how can you be from South Africa? And like, the concept of somebody being a different skin color from Africa is like mind blowing.
I think that Uganda is not so much known in China. Well, I've lived not only in China, I've also lived in Europe, a couple of European countries. If you mention you're from Uganda, the first thing they know, Idi Amin Dada, who was a tough dictator in Uganda. But in China, they don't seem to know so much about Africa. They know more about Europe and America. So if you tell them you're from Uganda, the first question, where's Uganda?
Yeah.
So sometimes we have to explain to them Uganda is in East Africa, Africa is a continent, not a country, because Chinese people basically, if you mention that you're from Africa, they know South Africa
Yes.
or Egypt.
Yes.
But the other countries say nah. Kenya is more known in China than Uganda
Yes.
because a lot of marathoners are from Kenya
Yes.
and Ethiopia. So if you mentioned, Kenya, Ethiopia, South Africa, boom, they know it.
They think that I'm just saying it's the south of Africa.
Yes.
Then I'm like, no, it's from like the country's name is South Africa. So they get very confused with that. Yeah, people I think that you just don't know much about the countries in Africa. They're more interested in America, they're more interested in England and like Australia, countries like that. So I don't think that they know much about Africa, and they don't even know that we had penguins or like beaches.
Now, there are a lot of nice things in China, but at the end of the day, you are still a foreigner. Have you ever been discriminated against?
Yes.
I will say yes. I'll say me as a South African, him as an American, he doesn't get it so much. Like me, they look at me as a South African, and even though my entire life I've been speaking English, I have spoken no other language. It's always, oh, but can you? Because you know you're not white skinned.
How can you speak
How can you speak English? You don't have white skin.
I guess in reverse of my issue is that I think Chinese people have had a very hard time accepting that if you're not black or white, you can still be American.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Usually before it was white, but thanks to having Barack Obama as president and having basketball players, I think Chinese people have come to accept that there are black Americans.
Yes.
But for someone like me, who is Latin American, it's still kind of strange to them.
Yes.
So they will assume I am white,
Yes.
which is something that I don't like. Because I'm not. I'm not white. I don't share anything with their culture. It's very different. Even language is different. So I guess that part is annoying. But at the same time, this might sound funny to Americans, but it's been nice being treated like a white person. You know, it's something that I'm not used to. You know, used to in the United States, I always have to, you know, watch my back in case I'm doing anything that the police will bother me about, or, you know, someone who is racist will bother me about. Here they think I'm white, so I can pretty much do whatever I want, and they will think, oh yeah, it's fine because
So
he's American.
you think that there's white privilege in
Yes.
China?
Yes.
Oh,
Oh, yes.
100%.
100% there's white privilege. I mean,
Absolutely, because I've met people who are, you know, English teachers, you know, from white countries who can barely speak the language, but they are getting paid the same as, you know, my girlfriend who
Yes.
speaks English.
here in China, they look at me and they're like, oh, but you're Induran, which means, oh, well, you're from India. No, I'm not.
Yes.
I am not from India.
Yes.
And like when I say that, they're just like, wait, well, what do you mean you're not from India? You're brown.
Yeah, I think they're used to
Yeah.
having a, like, only like, these people are from here, these people are
Yeah.
from there.
When
Yeah.
you look at their country, like you can understand where that comes from because again, 90% of this country is Han Chinese.
Yes. Yes.
So like, you know, they think, okay, so that's how it is everywhere in the world.
It's not
Like
quite
Africa
true.
is all black,
So-
America is all white, India is all brown,
Yeah.
and then they just come to China.
Yes.
So like, you know, they kind of see the world in like 3 divides almost. Like I feel like that's their classification, like white, black, I don't know what you are.
Yes. Yes. We'll figure that out
So
later.
we're just gonna put you in the Middle East because like that makes sense.
Yes.
Oh.
But there's certainly definitely white privilege in China, and I think
There is.
that it's just very strange seeing it because I mean, even if you just see like reactions of people, you see, you know, if you know I go, which again I'm not white, but they think I am. But you know, if I go and like let's say one of my friends from Kenya or from South Africa comes with me, they're gonna kiss my ass, right? They're like, oh, what do you need this? Do you need that? Oh, do you want this? Oh, how do you think we should do this? Meanwhile, they don't ask, the black person even, how are you,
Yes.
right? They don't even ask them that.
Yes.
So I think that's a bit. I think that's one case. Also, just salary.
Yes.
The same job. If me and her are offered the same job, I'm gonna get paid more money.
Which he does.
Even if she, let's say she has a PhD in English,
It
right?
doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Well, the Chinese discrimination is a little bit slightly different from the Western discrimination. I would say that in China,
Yes.
someone would say, oh, a black guy, a black man, but it's not a big deal. And the Chinese, basically, they're just ignorant population.
Yes.
They want to know more, but they don't have that information. They're not exposed to that.
Yes.
I wouldn't call it racism.
Yes.
Perhaps if I was in Uganda, I would say, oh, this guy is racist. If it comes to finding a job or being whatever I belong to, it's all about what can I do best
Yes.
and what are my advantages here.
Yes.
That's what matters to me. So I don't really take most of the things as the way others would take.
And talking about advantages, are there any advantages of being a foreigner?
That's a pretty good question that I don't know how to handle it, but I make more money than the local Chinese would make.
Oh.
For me, money is on top of the list. I mean, like I told you, for me, it's not a brain drain, but how can I use my brain to bargain for more?
Cool.
How can I use my brain to make more than what I could make back home?
Good.
There are a lot of advantages to being a foreigner here, especially when it comes to working.
Yes.
It's very easy for us to become English teachers,
Yes.
or some kind of teacher. Usually it's teaching that we
Yes.
get in. I also think it's nice because Chinese people are very hospitable,
Yes.
and if you go to a place, they will treat you like you are the honored guest.
Yes.
And as an American, I think we have maybe a few more advantages than others.
Yeah.
Just from where we're from, which is interesting because in America we are taught that anyone who is not like us is our enemy. So when you find someone who's different from you, who treats you as a friend, it's very nice. Yeah, you have your foreign friends, but they cannot be there all the time.
Yes.
So in times of when you need someone but you don't have anybody, it's very easy to ask a Chinese person.
I don't know. I think people treat you much nicer.
Oh.
Especially in the restaurants. Also because they're trying to make sales.
Okay. Do you have any worries in China? Particular worries?
Yes,
Yes.
I do, because I mean, I will, be perfectly honest. My president is an idiot.
You what? You okay.
My
Okay.
president.
Yes.
And I think he is really trying to ruin relations between China and the United States. So if maybe when he is gone, it won't be a problem. But for now, he likes to say things and likes to. So I'm a little bit worried that maybe one day, I don't think it will be the Chinese government that does it. I think it will be the United States government that tells me, oh, I have to go back to America. But I don't think that anything very serious will come out of that as of right now. But maybe in a year time, 2 years, lots of things can change.
With me, like back home, you have to be able to defend yourself. You have to be able to attack somebody. You have to be able to cause harm in order to keep yourself safe. Why? Because there's some scumbag that's going to try and rape you, that's going to try and take your money. And these are very real threats that we have to deal with back home. But here in China, I have not found a single instance like that.
Yeah, it's very safe here.
Here in China, the most someone's going to try and do is like, hey, can I take a picture with you? That's the most dangerous thing you're going to experience, is someone being like, just randomly in the middle of a conversation, hi, my mom wants to see that I'm talking to a foreigner. And the next thing you know, you're FaceTiming somebody's mother. And you're like, hi, I'm the foreigner she's talking to right now.
Do you have any advice for people who would like to come to China?
If somebody wants to come to China to study,
Yes.
I think they need to think twice, because I've heard rumors, others think Chinese education to Africa or to foreign students, it has ups and downs, and some think that ups are more than the downs.
Yes.
If you want to come here to make money, perhaps you need to think of which area do your strengths lie more.
Okay.
If you think you can do the teaching and you're good at teaching, you're going to make money.
Okay.
But teaching opportunities are there. I think right now the Chinese government is a little bit strict on giving work visas to Africans, black Africans.
Yes.
Right now I'm into a language business.
Yes.
I don't only teach, I also manage.
Yes.
If you're here to do business, you need to learn about how Chinese people do business.
Yes.
If it's business here, basically there are a few things you need to master.
Yes.
If you want to sign a contract with a Chinese person, first, food. Second, cigarette. 3, alcohol.
Oh.
Well, in Western countries, we say any contract signed under the influence of alcohol is null and void.
Yes.
In China, does not work out.
Yes. You drink
So-
first and then sign the contract.
Yes.
It's
So if you want to come to China for business, assess yourself how good you are on drinking.
yes.
The food will be there.
Yeah.
If you don't smoke, try to pretend to be good at smoking.
Yes.
A couple of times I've been offered I don't smoke in my life.
Yes.
But if they give me a cigarette, I'll light it, I'll accept it, and I'll put the cigarette on the ashtray. It's gonna burn up to the end.
Yeah.
If they don't answer your question right away, just accept that.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Because especially working here, you in American culture, if I ask you something, especially when it is work related,
Yes.
you will tell me, or you'll say, "Oh, I will tell you in such and such time."
Yes.
Where you can ask that question in Chinese to a Chinese group,
Yes.
and you might not get any response for 3 days. So that's one thing you need to understand, is that things just take longer.
Okay.
Even like small decisions.
Yeah.
Everything is decision by committee.
Yes.
So one person asks the person above them, and then that person asks them, and then they come back down to the next, and
Takes
it goes up
forever.
and down. It takes forever. Another thing to get used to is just people taking pictures.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
In Chinese culture, it's very normal just to oh wow, that's interesting, I want to take a picture of it.
Yeah.
And of course, and it's very hard to believe as Westerners, but a lot of these people have never seen a foreign face before. So
They
you
have
kind of just
never
have to come
seen
into
either.
China just accepting that a lot of these people have never seen someone who looks like you.
Yeah. So you are scenery.
Yeah,
You are
so you
seen.
are, you are picture worthy.
Okay.
I'll actually recall a story for you. When we went to visit a place called Chongqing,
Yes.
there was a Siberian tiger,
Okay.
a white tiger that is supposedly very, very rare.
And poor.
And we were taking pictures of the tiger. However, there were people taking pictures of us, taking
Yes.
pictures of the tiger.
Yeah. And if you go to any tourist destination, it will be like this. You will think, wow, this temple is 2,000 years old. Or wow, this place is... Why are they taking pictures of me?
But she's black.
Yeah,
It's honestly because they've never seen anyone who looks like you.
yeah.
My only advice would be come with an open mind.
Yes.
Because people are so closed off because they think all of these things from the movies, all the things that they've heard about China, they don't want to come to China just because like, oh, people eat dog. People
Yes.
don't eat dog. People are disgusted by the fact that people think that you eat dog.
Yes. So my lovelies, thank you so much for staying with me. I really appreciate your company. So if you like this video or you've learned something from it, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do. Thank you so much. Have a good day.